my eyes off of it for a few moments, and next thing I knew, it was gone. I really no one to blame but myself, but I have, I did a little GoFundMe type thing, and people have helped out, and it's been wonderful. And, I want to thank everybody out there that helped me get, because I did secure a laptop, thank God. It's actually better than my old one. And I paid less for it. Craigslist, you got to love Craigslist, man.
Yeah. It's definitely a good site.
And Brad Olsen, who's on tonight, he's from San Francisco, and he'll probably be able to recall when Craigslist came out. I mean, I was living in San Francisco when Craigslist was just Craigslist. Nobody knew about Craigslist yet, and I heard about it. Yeah, man, you could find a great place to live in San Francisco, man, on Craigslist. And I actually found a place for $2,700 a month on the Oakland-Berkeley border. But anyways, it's great. I can't wait to get up and see Brad up in San Francisco and maybe do a broadcast up there. But no further ado, we need to get us back into the swing of things here. My special guest tonight, Leo Lyon Zagami, 33rd degree Freemason, based out of Rome, Italy, the author of the Confessions of the Illuminati, and also Brad Olsen tonight, who is the owner of CCC Publishing, a publishing company up in San Francisco, the city of San Francisco, up in the Bay Area, and also will be helping Leo. We're making a big broadcast announcement, a big publishing announcement tonight. I actually posted a picture of me on Facebook right now at www.facebook.com/32 degrees of insanity. You can see me sitting in the studio, and I said, hey, I'm talking with Brad and Leo tonight, talking about the Illuminati. So anyways, guys, welcome back to the show. Let's get back into it.
Hey.
Hey. You think Leo? Leo probably walked away. You never know about Leo, Leo's like, I'm trying to get...
Here
I am, Danny. Here I am. Oh, I'm pretty good. I got that, didn't I?
Well, we left the listeners talking about the sanctity being destroyed of the figure of the Pope, because when the Pope resigned, Pope Ratzinger, of course... the sanctity of the role, you can't resign if you are basically somebody who is in charge of such a divine position, like being the representative of God on earth. Is an unprecedented move, which of course was wanted by the New World Order, extremely wanted, because they want to destroy the sanctity of any religious leader. They want the religious leaders to simply become like political leaders of a future parliament of religions. That also is something that Shimon Peres last month push the Pope towards. So destroying the sanctity, and at the same time we have the role of Ratzinger, because lately there is something came out during the elections of Pope Francis, basically should be declared nil, because in the 5 scrutinies they did, there was apparently a vote more than the people present. So there is something wrong in the election of Pope Francis, and apparently this has been done on purpose, because the real Pope in charge is still Pope Ratzinger, who is really the occult figure behind Pope Francis, who is a Jesuit. I mean, he's a Jesuit, and the Jesuits are there trying to save what they can before the end of this Catholic Church. So I mean, it's a big story, of course, and this is the subject of it, of this book that will come out. I think it will be April, no, Brad?
Yep, April 2015.
And then after that, we have in the fall the Confessions of the Illuminati, the volume 1, and that will be very interesting for the people instead more inclined towards a more profound study of the esoteric.
Now, Leo, are you thinking about coming back to the country, or what are you thinking?
Absolutely. I mean, my position is the following. I mean, I came to the U.S. because here I'm being persecuted in Italy and in Europe. As you know, first I had problems in Norway, then I came to Italy, and I've been persecuted also here in Italy. I tried to become also politically involved, but this didn't work out. So basically now I am looking forward to come back in the US, but I have to, of course, construct myself a new dimension so I can be able to move to the US, where I think still freedom of speech is much better than any other country in the world.
Well, I have to agree with that, because I'm taking this global news media class class right now, and some of my colleagues are probably classmates are listening. And yesterday, our class was divided into an anti-American and a pro-American side. And guess what? Area that the professor put me in?
I don't know.
I had to be in the pro-America side. So here I am defending foreign policy, which I thought was kind of funny, but I was actually making some pretty good debates, because one of the things that I said is, and kind of what I said in the beginning of the show, here we are on an FM station now, ran by the Federal Communications, the FCC, and we're able to talk about this information, which is totally against the government itself, but yet we still have this constitutional guideline that gives us free speech.
I would say it's not really against the government. It's against the government within the government,
right,
which is what Kennedy talked about before being killed, which is what Clinton mentioned once when they talked to him about the UFOs, saying I can't mention certain things because there's a government within the government. This government within the government is not really the people's government. It's the government of the elite. And this elite has a very sad plan for us in the next few years. Just recently, they have put the numeration 20 and 14 in the Georgia Guidestones. This is a sign over time. So we have the Ebola virus, which is spreading just as the Rockefeller Foundation futures predicted a couple of years back, when this document, I think it was produced between San Francisco and New York, came out of the Rockefeller Foundation a few years back. And of course, people kind of were skeptic about some of the things, because they predicted there would have been a very big terrorist attack in the Olympics, which wasn't the case in London, fortunately. But then the rest of the predictions that we have in this document, which you can still find, I think, online, is basically the predictions of a doomsday scenario in which the Ebola virus was already predicted as a possibility, and it will grow out of control in certain countries. So at one point, for our own security, we will demand to be microchipped, so we can go through checks and everything without having all the harassment. Because if the harassment now in airports, let's say, is at a level 10, by the end of this crisis, the harassment when you get into an airport will be a level 90. So, I mean, we will be basically increasing a whole lot of more in the harassment that we will. And so at that point, we will say, okay, let's microchip ourselves, and so then we can go through the customs not having any problem. But let's say the iPhone 6 is also a very important situation here, because iPhone 6 is another experiment which is bringing forward the idea of being able to pay with your smartphone without using the credit card. Now, that is another phase of this new world order.
Well, I was thinking the other day, well, actually, I wasn't thinking the other day. I was thinking this today. I'm like, I don't even remember the last time I carried cash around. And I had to go and get money for this particular house that I'm putting a down payment on. And I literally, I'm like, how do I do this? I don't have any money. I mean, I have money in the bank, but and I was trying to figure out cashier's order. It's been so long since I touched money. And I think that's where we're heading. We just become this cashless society.
Cashless society, but also society which is within this very strict control, which we will create, of course, A-class citizens and B-class citizens, C-class citizens. I mean, the moment in which we are tagged, and we will enter into a system which will, of course, take all our liberties from us, the remaining liberties that we have left, of course. So, I mean, that is really the turning point of the prophecies you as a Christian know very well. I mean, the mark of the beast is really the turning point. So I know that some people, of course, are non-believers. They don't care about this. They don't care about any mark of the beast or anything else. But they still have to acknowledge what's happening out there today. I mean, we're having the Ebola crisis, we're having the ISIS crisis. They're all being brought upon in a very orchestrated mediatic circus.
Well, the big thing I have about this, the big thing I have about this whole ISIS thing is here we have an Islamic group talking about a Hindu god. Huh? What? Why would a Islamic group use a Hindu goddess, Isis, as their name? What?
Well, I would say that ISIS is more of an Egyptian, and even so, because of course we are the Middle East, and ISIS represents the moon, and the moon is inside the tradition of Islam, because we have it within the symbol. We are like Christians; we are a solar cult. They are more towards the moon. But in any case, we are in this situation, Donny, that we are finding ourselves today in 2014. People are not really wanting to wake up to the truth, because they are given always a comfort zone, and they are very happy with their comfort zone. And the problem is that when you challenge that comfort zone, then of course you will be put under threat. And the Tavistock Institute that was created in England many years ago functioned for this social engineering construction around us in our society. Psychiatry is used for that reason, and even Jung, who was a bit more of a renegade compared to Freud, was still put under the society gave him an address and used him and made him part of this system, because he himself was part of this system. So we have to be very careful of the direction we are taking, because, of course, this means that in the next few years we will see some unprecedented transformations, also very negative ones.
And that's scary. That's actually...
Well, it's very scary, and the U.S., of course, plays very much on the fact that most U.S. citizens tend to stay within their own borders for their entire life. And that means that the security is guaranteed within within the borders of the US of A. But the rest of the world is going to start to come in really a big decline, and also collapse means civil wars, more and more wars taking place. And so this third world war has been announced by Pope Francis in an unprecedented way. I mean, he has been stating that we are in the third world war already 2 times in the last month. So, I mean, this is a very unprecedented move to actually declare the fact that we are in a third world war scenario.
Do you believe that? Do you think we're actually...
Absolutely. We are. If you are, I mean, I think you can't really feel the war from the USA. You can start feeling the war, though, when you are in Europe, because here the war is really at our gates. I mean, you just go south of Sicily, and you are in Algeria. In Algeria, they just killed, for example, a French citizen who was not even a journalist. He was just a trekker, somebody who was like Brad. He likes to go in the mountains and trekking. They caught him, and ISIS beheaded him. And and then other things that happen. And of course, you can arrive to Sicily during the summer just by taking little boats. So they are invading the coast of Italy with immigrants, and in the middle of the immigrants, we have, of course, terrorists. And not only terrorists, because ISIS wants to use the Ebola virus against us. They said that. And not only they said that, last week they said once again, they repeated, it's incredible what they said. We will come to conquer Rome, we will rape your women, and we will raise the flag of Islam on the Vatican. I mean, these people are not joking. They want to invade, and so Italy is on this side. Then we have on the eastern side Ukraine, where we are going in a slow war but growing every day with Russia. So Europe is starting again, like 100 years ago, to have very strong wings of war. So this is a reality, it's not fiction.
Wow.
So, I mean, the reality of it is that, I mean...
I feel so separated from that. I mean, here in California, and you probably can attest to this, Brad, it seems kind of normal, doesn't it?
We seem pretty far away from it all, but I know exactly what Leo's saying. And just in the news today, another big ship of Syrian refugees off the coast of Italy. So it really is knocking on the door. And, you ask anyone in the Middle East right now if they think we're in the middle of World War III, and I think you'd get a pretty unanimous answer.
Really? Wow. Of course, that's not what the mainstream media here in the United States is going to tell you.
Well, that is one of my plans regarding regarding my work is to be able to bring more knowledge to people. And one of the things I'm planning on is also a book about the